Kayla, how are you?
How are you?
I'm good. Today's Tuesday.
Thank you. Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday, and Easter's this weekend.
And
I
for
can't believe how time is just flying.
2025 is going fast.
Isn't it? It's crazy. It's crazy, crazy. Okay, Kayla, tell me, I want to pick your brain on a couple things. Thanks for chatting with me. Do you work in HR right now?
I don't.
You're not in HR.
Not in a directly related HR position at the moment.
What are you doing right now?
I am a volunteer coordinator for a nonprofit organization.
Yep,
Um, it's not directly related to HR. My contract, when I was an HR associate, came to an end last year.
yep,
So, it makes you have to go out and find something else.
yep,
And I saw a lot of transferable skills, different skill sets that I could learn in this role. So while not contributing to HR, opportunities to learn something new, opportunities to grow a program, opportunities to interact with different people,
yep.
and still operations and ultimately success of an organization, right? So it's, sometimes what I did is thinking outside the box a little bit, right? Like we all know this job market's, discouraging at times. So, sometimes it's okay where, looking at it and putting yourself in the best place you can, seeing the
Yep.
positive, there's negatives. Um, but it's okay. How can I learn? How can I grow? What can I do to improve? What can I do to kind of plan for next steps?
Okay. When your contract ended, why were you looking for something in HR?
Yes, I was. Unfortunately, it just doesn't, it didn't kind of happen. Um,
Yeah,
and has bills. So,
yeah.
I kind of of an outside leap. But I have learned, I think, quite a bit in this role. So that's been a plus. I've definitely gained some skills that directly apply to HR.
Yep.
So, building on that and then planning ahead.
Do you want to, is the plan to get back into HR? Okay, so this is just you took this job temporary, not long term. The long term goal is to get back to HR.
Yes, it is. Like
Okay.
sometimes map kind of, we kind of hit a little bit of a bump and have to
Yeah.
go a little bit course.
Yeah.
Um, there's it's in the the market, we all have responsibilities, financially, family related,
Of
career goals.
course.
Sometimes, I got a little off course, but I'll
Yeah.
hopefully but in the meantime, I'm focusing on the positives, everything I've gained from this role.
Okay. Was your job search when your contract ended, you started looking for work and you're interviewing, you're getting yourself out there, just you hit a roadblock, just wasn't going as planned.
Yeah. I think what a lot of, entry level individuals kind of like myself are kind of experiencing right now is like that struggle, right? Like they're applying, hoping for the best, and it's just not working out the way they're wanting. I had a few interviews. A lot of the reasons why I wasn't progressed onwards is they ended up going with a candidate with more experience, right?
Okay.
So like that's kind of the roadblock I've hit. I
Yeah.
think a few so it's like, okay, like what can I do? In my current role, in my education, how
Yeah.
can I, what can I learn? Trying to look at it as positive as you can, right? Because if you start
Yeah.
kind of getting, you're going to go down the rabbit hole and that's not going to do anything beneficial for you.
Yeah. Okay. How many interviews when you lost your job when that contract it was a contract ended, you said, right? Okay. How many interviews did you go on?
In 2024, I had about three, and then I've
Oh,
had two this
so you had three interviews?
end of last year when my contract, like from August to about November 2024.
Yeah.
Um, I applied to more than three organizations.
Yeah.
So, you know, not
Okay.
the,
So my question to you is if you went to school for HR, you have a passion for HR, you took something like why don't you just keep your foot on the gas and keep looking for something in HR?
and I think that's, a question I think I've had, but I'm like, you know what, I'm in this thing where I don't have the, financial ability to necessarily, do that full time. So it's like, how can I still, meet my financial responsibilities,
Mm,
that, rent, things like that. There's still obligations that everyone has, or will have to face at some point. And
yeah.
it's like, okay, those. And then it's like, how can I, improve? I'm chatting with other people on LinkedIn. You're building that network. You're like learning and what your current role is. Okay. Like
Yeah.
people interacting, relationship building, how can you contribute towards an organization and, meet some kind of, objective or quantifiable result in some way. And like I said, transferable skills can show up anywhere. I've met a lot of amazing people that didn't start in HR and ended. So I think it's just trying to be as positive as you can, acknowledging where there's gaps that you're missing, and just trying to fill them as best as you can, and keep going.
Mhm. Okay. You're very optimistic and very positive. I love it.
If you, like I said, if you're not, yeah, what else? At least it's just going to be kind of miserable for you. So
Yeah. What is the long-term goal? Is the long-term goal to get back into HR and to, be a generalist, manager, director one day? Is that the plan?
that'd be the goal. I know I'm looking specifically for like HR assistant roles, HR coordinator roles. Those still, lower entry level. I have about just over a year of experience directly in HR.
Yeah.
Current role that's two in, kind of a professional operational environment. So yeah, it's the goal to get back there and start integrating back into that industry.
Okay. So, what right now, what are you doing to find work in HR? What sort of things are you doing? Are you networking? Are you applying to jobs online? Are you attending networking events? What are you doing?
Both. So I'm working with a career coach as well. So we could definitely take all the free resources as possible, but at the end of the day, there's better ones out there that might cost a little bit of money. So I'm working with a career coach to kind of help me out and help like give me a different perspective of my resume.
Yeah.
Clearly, spraying does not work. I think everybody kind of has learned that.
What doesn't
And
work? What doesn't work?
praying and praying, you're just applying to as many roles
Spray
as
and pray. Spray and pray.
possibly.
It's called
And
spray and pray. So applying to multiple jobs is not working for you.
like you can do the best you can. I'm trying to hit ones that I'm qualified for, but at the end of the day, like something about my resume is not working, right? Otherwise, I would have seen better results. So okay, like where can I improve? What needs to change? Where can I learn something new? So
Yeah.
working with using LinkedIn, I go to both, those webinars that they have for lunch through the HRPA. And then there's also some networking events. I've got one coming up next week, which I'm really excited for. So yeah, building your LinkedIn brand, just, posting a little bit more, trying to connect with different people. You never know where some connections might end up, or like
Yeah.
prompts.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have any advice, please let me know of anything else that you can
I've
think of.
I've got a ton of advice. I can write a book about this topic. I don't know if anyone will read it, but but I can write a book. I want to go back to your career coach. You said you're working with. Can you mention this person's name, he or she?
Posan, you know her as well.
Oh, you're working with Irina. Okay. Yes, of course I know Irina. Okay, so you're working with a career coach, you're being active on LinkedIn, you're applying to jobs that meet your qualifications, you're attending networking events, you're doing the lunch and learn. So you're doing all the things needed to find your next great job.
I hope so.
It sounds like you're doing all the right things. I think right now with the labor market right now, Kayla, it's just competitive right now. It's uncertain right now. There's so much uncertainty right now with the labor market and the economy. Um, so excuse me, just 1 second. Sorry about that. So yeah, so there's so much uncertainty right now. So and I'm telling people it's nothing, it may not be what you're doing, it's just the economic conditions that we're in, the labor market. There's things that are out of our control. It sounds like what you're doing things you can control. And I think from that, I think ultimately you'll get rewarded for your efforts, but it takes time, right? It's not like click send, come in for an interview, offer, start on Monday. I wish it was that easy. It's complicated, right?
Weeks sometimes between from when I apply to when I like, here get that invite to a phone screen, right? Like things take time. It's
Yeah.
just being consistent. And I think that's where you need to have a positive attitude kind of come in. Otherwise it's gonna be a depressing time.
Well, and that was one thing I noticed about you, Kayla, your attitude, great attitude. Love it. Love the energy, love the positive energy. It's great. And I think so many people, because it's so disheartening, the job search, they bring that energy with them to that interview. And hiring managers pick up on that, right?
Uh, yeah, that's
So
I want to work with somebody that just is kind of down in the dumps all the time.
yeah,
Um, I think I saw something on LinkedIn where it said, be the person everybody wants to work with.
Love
You
it.
might not you might not have like the full qualifications experience. There might be gaps in your technical abilities, but if you're likable and you're willing to kind of jump on board, well,
Yep.
you're kind of halfway there at least. It definitely will help.
Okay, so I will mention this, and I talked about this a couple weeks ago on a podcast. On top of you having experience and fitting culturally, and you have a proven track record and such, you also have to have a likability factor about yourself. If you come in and the hiring manager doesn't like you and says that person came in here with such a negative attitude, great on paper, she can do the job, but I just picked up on a bad energy and she's not likable. So I think that's one thing we actually don't talk about, likability. You have to be likable and you have to have a great attitude. Despite what's going on, if the world's falling apart, you got to go into your interview with a great attitude.
And I mean, think of it too, like the team that you're joining. I played, team sports my entire life. There
Yeah.
needs to be like, they need to gel, they need to work well to be successful. And if you have one, bad egg, so to speak, in that team, that can tear, the culture, that can tear so much down, right?
Yeah.
So they don't want to be that person.
Yep.
So doing keeping it as positive as you can, right? There's always a little bit of a silver lining. I know Arena says that as well. So
Yeah.
just try doing what you're doing, keep going, finding out where you can improve.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree with you. You mentioned you're a little active on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that. When you say you're active on LinkedIn, what do you mean by that?
Well, and I know I was watching actually when you were chatting with the HRPA students,
Yeah.
when you're 8 weeks ago now, and then one of the questions was, as a student, like, what do they post? And that was something I definitely struggled with too. Like, I don't have any expertise in anything,
Yeah.
relevant. So, what do I post? How can I
Yeah.
start getting a little bit more active and engagement? And then
Yeah.
I started. I've read because I'm like, okay, you know what? It might kind of work. Someone might see it and go, okay, like you're reading something interesting. I've read this before too. And that's actually, I think, how we reconnected as well.
Yeah.
Um, like posting some of the books, a lesson you learned, an article you read,
Yeah.
um, something that you've seen. It doesn't even have to be like, it doesn't have to be political. It could be,
Yeah.
what's in going on. Like anything, just kind of start, getting that confidence, start small, and then just slowly start building.
Yeah. So start the conversation. So someone asked me on that call, like, what should I post? I say steer away from religion and politics. Two things don't ever post on LinkedIn. Okay. But if there's something like there was an article that I shared last week about the Bay laying off their employees, right? So I shared that or something along those lines. So share anything relevant to what you're doing. And I think what that does is like if you get in the habit of sharing, liking, commenting daily on LinkedIn, you become more visible. And as a result, people see, oh, there's Kayla again. Oh, that was a really intelligent comment that she made. I want to connect with her. And
Mhm.
then that builds your network. And then that person connects you to someone else. So I always tell job seekers, yes, apply to jobs online, get out to the networking events, but be visible on LinkedIn, like, share, comment on LinkedIn. Because again, it's a platform where employers will see you,
Mm.
right? And then the whole point of the job search is to be visible. And this is a great platform to be visible. So take advantage of it. Like other people's comments, make comments about what they've posted, share it. Kayla, I even encourage candidates to create short videos. Like on LinkedIn, you have a feature where you can create a video and you can post it. That's another way you can do something you can do to stand out, right? So being active on LinkedIn, I talk about it often. I think people need to take advantage more of it of LinkedIn. So
Yeah, it's definitely, I think, an underutilized form of, I guess, social media.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
diff- like a
because
different brand in general compared to what I think a lot of people are usually used to with social media.
yeah, I just think now job seekers need to like the conventional way is sitting at our desk and sending resume out. That's just one aspect of it. I think now we have to think outside the box and we have to be creative and we have to think of different ways to get noticed. And this is why, I'm being the dead horse, but like being active on LinkedIn, creating these videos is just another way of you being potentially seen, right? So and showcasing your personality, right? So
I know it's your resume only kind of says so much, and then
yeah,
you kind of rest. First impressions definitely matter, especially
yeah,
in person.
yeah,
In my role, I deal with recruitment and selection of volunteers. So while I'm not hiring employees, I'm
Yeah.
hiring peers to, help contribute towards organizational goals.
Yeah.
And you're chatting with them, going through the interview process, kind of how and I'm trying to think too, like when I'm on that other side, okay, is this how something I said? Okay, now I kind of see how it might be a little off-putting, or oh, I can say this a little bit differently, or you
Yeah.
learn so from people,
Yeah.
and I think so undervalued, or people don't see, how everyday experiences or work might not, that's it's not directly related to HR, but you can learn so much, right? So there's so
Mhm.
many different um, and transferable skills to kind of pick up and gain and learn from.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So, okay, Kayla, that was thanks for your time. I don't want to keep you too long because I think both of us have a busy afternoon, so I don't want to take up too much of your time. But I want to say thanks for your time. Thanks for having a quick chat with me. And if anyone's watching this right now and they want to connect with Kayla, they can connect with you on LinkedIn.
On LinkedIn, Kayla Holden, CHRP. You'll see my photo there. I hope it's a good one. I
Yeah.
took it recently, update it every so often. I think that's
Okay.
another thing to get
Okay.
about.
So Kayla's looking for an HR coordinator right now. If anyone's watching this video and they want to reach out to Kayla, please send her a request and connect with her. And Kayla, if I was hiring, I'd hire you just based on your attitude. Because I think, and what's interesting about you, you talked about before we jumped on the call, you talked about having an open mindset, right? And I think that's critical as well too. And we hire companies hire people they know, they like, and they trust, right? And people with that open mindset and having that great attitude. So, right?
Very much, Pino. It was a pleasure to talk to you today.
Yeah, great, good chatting with you, and we will definitely stay in touch. Okay,
Yep, take care.
have a great day. We'll talk soon.